I am sure that we will all agree it was, and there was, too much wasting of time on silly or on trivial things. It was filled with politicking. There was no policy enunciation, no answers for the plethora of issues that confront us here in St. Kitts and Nevis as a developing nation. But let's, however, as per usual, first examine our observations in review. And that's the time when we highlight the issues that we may have addressed in the past and we do some reflection. We then ask a few questions such as what was accomplished, how has it helped others, what has changed since, and what can be expected next. Also, what new we have learned as a people. And since our last conversation, my people, on Monday gone, the electorate in our sister island of Nevis went to the polls and elected a new Nevis Island administration. So it would be remiss of me if I did not congratulate all the winners and in the process commiserate with all the losers. Many, including myself, I will admit, were disappointed with the results, especially when we had to confront with the reality that Nevisians will have to stomach the terrible and the brash leadership of Brantley for hopefully not the next 5 years. But I implore my Nevisian brothers and sisters not to lose faith, because these results may just be a blessing in disguise. Because it would have been extremely difficult for Dr. Janice Daniel and her team to resuscitate or to take the economy of Nevis out of what I call this coma caused by the poor management of Brantley over the last 5 years as Premier. Brantley made the mess in Nevis. So upon reflection, I say it perhaps rightly he should certainly be made to clean up his mess. A $98 million deficit on recurrent expenditure, according to his last budget estimates. And that's why he failed to pass a budget, and that's why he conveniently called the elections at that time. But could you imagine his next budget? As his last budget estimates, as I said, had a $98 million deficit on recurrent expenditure. And his estimates, according to his estimates, yes, it had also $500 million in debt. When we reflect upon the fact that Mark Brantley brought in over 900 voters for a local election and only won by 147, and his deputy Alexis Jeffers lost his seat, he therefore has nothing to celebrate. Some no doubt heeded the advice given to them by former CCM Minister Hazel Brandy when she said this to Nevis.
To those of you who have come home to vote, whether you have paid your own way or someone paid it for you, I implore you to be guided by the facts, the realities of our day-to-day existence in Nevis. The decision you make when casting your vote should be one that will make life better for your family and friends. Remember that they remain here after you return to life abroad. Your decision should help them in making the simplest decisions on a monthly basis. No longer should they have to be juggling between paying bills or buying groceries. These are the realities of life for some of us on our beloved Nevis.
And yes, my Straight Talk family, the reality of life for some in Nevis will return to the day-to-day existence of juggling between paying their bills and or buying food to eat. On St. Kitts, we find ourselves in the same predicament, whereby thousands of overseas voters were brought home to decide the composition of the government we have today. The reality is, they have all returned to their life overseas. But we all who remain at home face the increasing cost of living and a government that continue to trample upon the poor. But it is even worse in St. Kitts because the flights for thousands of overseas voters were bought by the rich friends of Labour. So the reality in St. Kitts Nevis is that our elections are bought, as confessed by Prime Minister Jew sometime recently.
The election in St. Kitts and Nevis, whether you believe it or not, can be bought. It is not too expensive for a rich person to buy an election in St. Kitts and Nevis. The election in St. Kitts and Nevis, whether you believe it or not, can be bought. It is not too expensive for a rich person to buy an election in St. Kitts and Nevis.
I had to replay that, my Straight Dog family, because it's hard to believe, but it is true, that confession. The elections in St. Kitts and Nevis are easily bought, and it's not too hard to buy them. Could you imagine that, my Straight Dog family? That's what happens in our elections here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Now, my people, we must take this proposition seriously, and we must ask ourselves what promises were given to these rich persons who bought the elections that put the Jew Labour Party into office. Is one of those rich persons building the prison project, they may ask. Recall that in an interview with Jamie McPhail of Freedom FM some time ago, she asked Garth Wilkin, the Attorney General, about the prison project. And the Attorney General said this to the nation.
You mentioned projects that fall under the CBI program. You know, one of those projects that has been spoken about a lot, it's the prison project, right? Let me not say ask where, but have you as an administration figured out what the way forward as to that project?
I can tell you two things in relation to that without going into the great detail. It's on pause, one, and it's the prison is not a priority for this administration.
Okay.
I'll leave it at that.
Laughing matter. It's on pause. We leave it at that, says the AG. But But was the Attorney General lying, or he just talked out of turn? I asked that question. I asked because Prime Minister Drew has since signed almost 3,000 applications for the prison project, although it's on pause. And although he has kept that a national secret, the Prime Minister has since come with some flimsy excuse about not being able to switch the project. Not being able to switch the project was his excuse.
The Citizenship by Investment Program, and that is why I outlined exactly what we are doing. And we are coming really to conclude exactly where we will land. We are almost to the end of it. I'm really looking at a trip right now to go to the Middle East, because we understand with the CBI program, one has to be mindful that if you market a particular product, you just can't in the middle of it switch to anything else, because people lose confidence, and they can lose confidence in your CBI product as well. So when you market your CBI program, you can't say this is for a public good where we'll build a prison that is needed because that is how it was marketed, because the government prioritized that. And then you go back now and say, look, we have to switch in the middle of that. All those persons who might have had interest would lose confidence in your CBI program and can damage the CBI program. So we want to continue to be persons who are responsible, a government that is responsible. And so we have looked at it very carefully. That is why we are coming up with the measures that were mentioned to implement them, to make sure that we strengthen the program so that something like this does not happen again. And that is why we have to make the trip as well to make sure. So the situation with that is that that program, we can't make a direct switch in it, even though we have discussed switching. So as far as that is concerned, because of how the CBI program is structured, we just cannot switch off a particular project that was marketed.
And my straight talk family, the head of the Citizenship by Investment Unit, Les Khan, by now we have heard he resigned. And we have also learned that lots of those who market the program on an international basis have lost confidence in the program. But I'll come back to that somewhat later. But what about the $130 million bonus that the St. Kitts, Nevis, and Anguilla National Bank is still, as I speak, they are still secretly discussing that bonus with Christopher Harbour. Remember I told you that it was Terence Crosman who signed the loan agreement, the SIDF loan agreement, for $43 million in his capacity as the CEO of the SIDF. Remember as well, Douglas then tried to fool us when he said this about internal problems and some investment issue.
The investors and developers in the Christopher Harbour had internal problems, but we wanted development. The cabinet, with me as the chairman of the cabinet, took the decision to invest for our advancement and invested it in the Christopher Harbour so that that experiment of development can continue.
And remember I just said that there is a loan agreement signed by Terence Crosman, then as the CEO of the SIDF. And Terence Crosman has, since the change of government, been handpicked by Prime Minister Drew and hastily appointed as managing director of the St. Kitts, Nevis, and Anguilla National Bank. And right away, without hesitation, he secretly attempted to apparently facilitate debt forgiveness for the bank loan of $43 million, which Christopher Harbour has not paid and the National Bank had moved to foreclose or moved to foreclosure. So, will the National Bank give the NIA debt forgiveness for the $240 million owed to the bank that the NIA has not paid for the past 2 years? Will the National Bank give debt forgiveness to the hundreds of poor people who owe on their mortgages? And we say to Drew, we say to Douglas, and we say to Crasman, sign the mortgage transfer agreement for 275 acres of land at Christopher Harbor. Otherwise, there will be protests. The people will not pay their loans at the St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla National Bank or the St. Kitts Nevis Development Bank. But Drew said that the elections are bought by the rich. So these questions naturally follow. 1, did Christopher Harbor pay any money to anyone for anything? 2, is there a commitment to Christopher Harbor before and or after the elections? Why would the St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla National Bank or the Jew Labor Administration even consider Christopher Harbor for a bonus or a reward for the non-performance of Christopher Harbor? My people, these are the observations in review for tonight, though we still await answers from Prime Minister Drew that the reporter asked at his press conference about a month ago about the passports. How many passports? Why is Prime Minister Drew keeping this a secret from the Federation? We have 55,000 people according to the last census. But we are told that there are some 30,000 passports already issued under the CBI that are out there. Drew, we understand, has signed up to date some 3,000 applications for the prison project. And we want to know how many Russians, how many Chinese, how many Iranians, how many Nigerians, how many Libyans. We've already lost our visa-free status or visa waiver status with Canada. As we speak tonight, there is still that black mark on our records, the records of St. Kitts and Nevis, issued by the U.S. Treasury Department that referred to our CBI attracting illicit actors. The country needs to know, Prime Minister Drew. These are pertinent questions we are asking. But this brings me to my thesis, my dissertation tonight. As I said, the 2023 budget estimates full of fat. And by that I mean, as I said, I listened to the budget debate as of yesterday and today. I am sure that we all who have heard it, we all would agree. We all would agree that it was, or there was too much wasting of time on silly, trivial matters, silly, trivial things. It was filled, like I said before, with politicking. There was no policy enunciation, no answers for the plethora of issues that confront us as a developing nation. No strategy to tackle the high cost of living, no matter what they may try to say.
We want to deal with the cost of living. Cost of living is a critical issue in terms of the cost of food. That is going to be a priority area. The cost of fuel, that is also going to be a priority area, so that we can immediately start to deal with the cost of living of our people here in St. Kitts and Nevis. We have to deal with that. It is critical that we do that. Just recently we see the United States, I think they passed a law to limit inflation, or to, you know, in a sense to deal with the cost of living. We had been speaking about that even before, and therefore those will be our priority areas. How can we help our people by decreasing the cost of living, dealing with those other critical issues? And the other thing we're going to look at is to get our people back to work. So,
but nothing in the budget I heard delivered in its address for 3 hours, I think it was, and 20 minutes. Nothing was advanced that would make us comfortable that the budget will achieve these things he promised. What about the increase he promised in the minimum wage? Yes, we can't forget the promise to increase the minimum wage to $500.
St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party will recharge and revolutionize our local economy. We will increase the minimum wage to $500 per week and introduce price control legislation to help you keep more money in your pocket. We will institute VAT Day 3 times a year, giving you a total of 6 low VAT days per year instead of 4.
Promises. But my people, truth be told, it is an empty budget in which he promised to replace the CBI. But with what? He never said. You said that the country was in the red. He said it, not me, not you. He said this.
We are in the red, dependent heavily on CBI, and therefore we have to now chart a different course in order to make sure that St. Kitts and Nevis remain strong and viable. But we are very vulnerable at the same time.
Having listened to the budget, my straight dog family, have we charted a different course as it relates to our vulnerability, as relates to our exposure with our eggs in the CBI basket? But Prime Minister Joe, he thinks people in St. Kitts are stupid because his deficit is cloaked. It is hidden by the CBI projections. My straight dog family. He talks now about a surplus. But if you are in the red, it means you have no money. It means you are broke. But no, he comes because he thinks we are stupid, and he now starts to talk about surplus. Could you imagine that, my people?
The estimates presented here today are therefore forecasting that the fiscal operations of the government would result in an overall surplus of $27.6 million for 2023 fiscal year and an average of $30.7 million over the period 2024 to 2025. The current revenue is projected to be approximately $993.2 million for 2023 and $945.6 million over the medium term. The amount for recurrent expenditure would likely reach $812.1 million for 2023, with an average annual total of $820.6 million for fiscal years 2024 and 2025.
Imagine a straight dog family. He has hidden, he has cloaked, he has masked his deficit by these wonderful projections of increased revenue under the CBI. The CBI he wants to replace. But think about it, my people. Lescan, who created this platinum brand of a CBI, suddenly resigns. Lescan is replaced immediately by an insurance man called Michael Martin. Yes, he's an insurance guru. Give it to him. Who was once appointed, or his company was once appointed, by then Prime Minister Denzel Douglas as secretary to the SIDF. That's where all the money was channeled. It never went to the consolidated fund back then, but in an account, special account. According to Douglas back then, it was a private foundation. But think about it. Jew goes to Dubai and he walks with his cabinet secretary, Marcus Natter, nice guy. He walks with lawyer Sylvester Anthony. He also walks with Attorney General Garth Wilkin and a young lady, Miss Galloway, I think is her name. And we're told that all the international marketing agents asked for Lescan. Where is Lescan? He was asked. And Prime Minister Drew provided no sensible answers. And this, on its own, has created so much concern in our CBI program on the international markets. So ask yourselves, my people, how could the CBI revenue projections be increased by nearly $300 million more under a new head of the CIU who has no international contacts like Lescan? Does that make sense to you? Furthermore, I have been reliably informed that one of the main investors right here in St. Kitts has grown fed up of the relentless attacks from Astafan and others and the unnecessary pressure from the Jew administration, and is now moving all her business to St. Lucia. She's also establishing St. Lucia, already establishing St. Lucia rather. But for that reason, and many other reasons, my Straight Dog family, I submit that Jew has tabled a deficit budget described as a surplus that is being derived from increased CBI revenue. And I can only conclude that the 2023 budget estimates full of art. And that's my story tonight, and I'm not going to change it. I am going to open the lines anytime now and entertain your views on what you saw or did not see or did not hear in that budget. My people, the numbers are 663-6672 or 646 for those in the diaspora, 829-6672. There's some of you who like the cloak of anonymity. So we give you access via our email platform, which is Straight Talk, STRAIGHTTALK, patches, PATCHES, that's one word, Straight Talk Patches at gmail.com. I always like to implore you, before I open the lines, that I anticipate you will respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned. Let us try to build goodwill and better friendship. Let us ensure that the things we say and or do will be beneficial to all concerned. And in saying and doing those things, my Straight Dog family, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. The lines are open. Again, for those of you who have joined me for the first time, and I forgot to really thank God in my introduction for giving me an opportunity to join you in conversation on not yet another occasion. For those of you who have joined me for the first time, we come to you every Monday and Thursday from 8 to 10 in the PM. We'll take a break sometime next week. I'll tell you when. And take a break for Christmas. And perhaps sometime next week we open the lines. So allow you to send your Christmas greetings to your family and your friends. But again, the numbers are 869-663-6672 and or 646-829-6672. I go to the lines at 841 19 before 9. Caller, you're live.
Mr. Strater, good evening.
How are you, my dear brother?
I'm okay, so far, so good.
It's always good to hear you. Always good to hear you.
Yes, I got two quick questions to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
Did what's his name, the opposition leader in Sandy Point, did he go to Mark Gantley's training?
The opposition leader in Sandy Point.
Well, me call him opposition leader in Sandy Point.
You know, I saw a video clip. It didn't show much of the crowd, but I didn't see the excerpt I saw. I did not see the opposition leader from Sandy Point. His unity partner, I think you're referring to, right?
I'm not even, I don't want to call that guy name. I'm just saying if he goes there, if he went to his I call him opposition leader.
Not to my knowledge.
Because, so did he go up there to campaign for him also? That's my two question. You know if he went to campaign for him?
I am not aware. I think it would be more liability.
I could see Mr. Strater, you're still to give me a good answer.
No, but I don't speak from a point of ignorance. I really don't know. I honestly don't know. If I knew, I would say it, you know.
I just want to get a laugh, you know. I just want to get a laugh because look straight at you. You're really going strong each day. Understand? And all I can do is to just thank God for you. Because the people are calling. You know, someone was talking to me today and they were telling me about Mark Grantley. So I said, some lady called him that he's an alligator. Alligator have no friend. And I said, she was so right. So my dear sister, you are very right. See, alligator have no friend. So Mr. Strater, I had just want to get my two question answered because I said, but this man had a swearing in. Did he go? That was his body. So what's going on? He don't want to. No, but it's good. So that's what's going on. So I couldn't wait to answer my two questions.
I'm sorry I couldn't provide the answers for you, but I'll if I find out.
Like I said, I'm happy. I'm glad because I couldn't wait to get in touch with you because I said because I didn't know he had the training. When I listened to the news, I said, maybe he went. So let me check and see if he went and the only person who get chance or something is you.
I'm sorry I disappointed you. How is New York?
We got to talk, man. We good. So take your time. You answer my question. That's all I want to ask you. Just those two questions.
Okay.
All right? So you be good. See you when I see you. We're going to catch up.
See you when I see you, my brother. New York is good, I hope. Okay, that's my dear friend from New York asking about the opposition leader. I think he's referring to the leader of PAM for now, whether he went to Brantley's swearing in Nevis. I saw him taking the oaths of office in Nevis. And that oath of allegiance is something that politicians ought to take seriously. But my Straight Dog family, as we said, we are discussing the budget tonight. And on listening, we learned that there is an overall surplus. Remember, we came from remember we came from a position of being in the red, and we suddenly we are now anticipating a surplus of some 26 million. Imagine that, 26 million. We are now anticipating my Straight Dog family. And we ask ourselves, why are they hiding behind the projections of a CBI program? And my Straight Dog family, we are not going to be fooled. And as I said, that there is a situation in here, my Straight Dog family, that is a situation here where we don't believe. We have a situation where the head of the CIU resigned immediately. And for some reason, immediately they replaced him with insurance man Michael Martin, who was once appointed, or his company was, if not him, once appointed by then Prime Minister Denzel Douglas as secretary to the SIDF. And the issues we are hearing, and this is reliable information, I've always bring you reliable information. Recall that Jew went to Dubai with his entourage. He didn't take the head of his CIU, internationally acclaimed Les Khan. He took his cabinet secretary. He took lawyer Sylvester Anthony, Attorney General Garth Wilkin, and a young lady called Miss Galloway, I'm told. And when I asked about Les Khan, he provided no answers whatsoever, my Straight Dog family. And now, all of a sudden, they are anticipating millions of dollars increase in the CBI. Could you imagine? When you examine the budgets, you will find projections. The actuals for 2021 were $542,553,639. The projections are the estimates rather for 2022 were $400 million. And the estimates for 2023 have increased by $118 million to $580,315,789, with projections at $678,240,618. They must be hiding something. And I believe they are hiding the deficit. They are hiding the deficit. This is a deficit budget, and a budget, an estimate, and a budget full of fat. I say so respectfully. And when I say fat, I mean, I Straight Talk family, all I simply mean, having listened to the budget debate as of yesterday and today, nothing but a waste of time on silly, trivial things. And Prime Minister Drew driving the country's vehicle and looking in the rearview mirror. Filled with politicking, no policy, no plans, no answers for the oversupply of issues that confront us as a developing nation. The cost of living, the areas of supply chain matters, areas of transport, areas of housing, the areas of food security. Nothing, no strategy to tackle the cost of living in this country, to tackle the projected inflation. And although he promised this, nothing whatsoever came forth in the budget.
We want to deal with the cost of living. Cost of living is a critical issue in terms of the cost of food. That is going to be a priority area. The cost of fuel, that is also going to be a priority area, so that we can immediately start to deal with the cost of living of our people here in St. Kitts and Nevis. We have to deal with that. It is critical that we do that. Just recently we see the United States, I think they passed a law to limit inflation, or to, in a sense, to deal with the cost of living. We had been speaking about that even before, and therefore those will be our priority areas. How can we help our people by decreasing the cost of living, dealing with those other critical issues? And the other thing we're going to look at is to get our people back to work. So,
and nothing whatsoever in the budget reflect that he was trying to achieve that. It's 7 before 9. We go to the lines. Caller, you live.
Okay. Good evening, Dr. Patches Liburd, and all the listeners to this program. Good evening.
Good evening, my
brother.
How are you? I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
Are you peaceful?
Yep.
Oh, well, I hopeful. I am peaceful. Patches, you know what fat? You know what the word fat mean? Fathers against retarded teachers. All of that boy from Monkey Hill. Stalin and Hitler. What started wrong cannot end right. It has to maintain wrong until everything collapses.
Say that again.
No.
Fathers what? Fathers against
retarded teachers.
Okay.
FART. Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead. Sorry.
That's okay, man. That's okay. No, listen here. When that boy from Monkey getting forced, Stalin, first thing he do, he could not live up to his promises, his political promises that he made to people. A lot of them who rich, who said that election can be bought or politics can be bought. He could not live up to them right away with their demands. The kind of demands that some of them requested from him, he could not do it. So therefore he come up with the big lie that the country is in red. Well, okay, if the country in red, why go on this gallivanting tour with so many persons when the money to buy the ticket come out of the treasury? Well, Mr. Wilkin, those people who put their hand in the treasury and take out the treasury money and carry those people to Dry Road and gallivanting, you need to make them look shame and small. And those are the ones who are guilty of not being friendly with the treasury. Now you hear what he say? The boy from Monkey, you hear what he say about the prison? That they got to But he said, what is this word? Change something or continue something in the middle of the project.
Cannot switch.
Right, yeah, switch.
Yeah.
Now, why he gonna say that there? It's because he know that he do not have any plan. All what he trying to do, what he has to do, government go and government come. And Dr. Harris and Team Unity, we leave a lot of things in the pipeline, including you, Dr. Patches. You are the one who provide the facility for those big ships to come here and dock up, along with Mr. Grant as the marketing minister. So all what they're doing now is just carrying on what the unity government leave. Now he want to change switch with the prison. Well, let he tell the nation, if all those people involved in the prison, if they're included in the 3,000 passport that he signed in 100 days, let he say that. Why are you hiding it for? That is supposed to be public information, because all of that he preach political campaign and say that integrity in public life and transparency with this and that and all kind of thing. Why are you hiding them for? And the last thing I want to say before I move out the records, other people want to come in. What he gonna do? What he and Mr. Garrett Wilkin gonna do with the money what Christopher Harbour or National Bank? Are they gonna drown it, throw water upon it and call it that? Are they gonna throw water upon the money down La Valley Golf Course? What happened? Those are the money from the bank. Let the company here, let Mr. Garrett Wilkin come in here and say whether he gonna embarrass them or whatever it is. But I have something else again, so I'll come back, Patrick.
Thank you very much. Some pertinent questions, and the thing about it, they stay quiet on these pertinent questions. Yet they talk about transparency, as you said, and accountability. No accountability whatsoever. If he has signed passports, say he has signed passports. A reporter asked him that question, and he refused to answer. He said it's a critical question, but he has refused to answer. And some people don't like to hear the truth, but the truth will be told on straight talk. No matter what they write, no matter what they say. Even if I have to stand alone, I will speak the truth. Caller, you are live. Thank you for holding.
Good night.
Good night, my dear. How art thou?
Mr. Liburd, may I Matley write the speech?
Which speech?
And he says the brand is so right, they should have listened to her. People just say what people want you to hear. He win, and he will want more share. They went bicycle riding. He might want to go over. 10 man in one would not want that. Because Timothy was there, it looked like he taking a drink of rum and going on. What they're going to do, they're there to finish corruption. They start it and they will finish it. The AG went to Dubai. He find out where the jacket and suitcase come from and where it was going. That is corruption. See you.
To those of you who have come home to vote, whether you have paid your own way or someone paid it for you, I implore you to be guided by the facts, the realities of our day-to-day existence in Nevis. The decision you make when casting your vote should be one that will make life better for your family and friends. Remember that they remain here after you return to life abroad. Your decision should help them in making the simplest decisions on a monthly basis. No longer should they have to be juggling between paying bills or buying groceries. These are the realities of life for some of us on our beloved Nevis.
They are the reality of lives for all of us here on the island of St. Kitts. Because we face daily increasing costs of living and a government that continues to trample upon the poor. But even worse, in St. Kitts, it is even worse, because the flights for the thousands of overseas voters were bought and paid for by the rich friends of Labour. So the reality in St. Kitts and Nevis is that our elections are bought, as confessed by Prime Minister Jew. Yes, he made that confession publicly.
The election in St. Kitts and Nevis, whether you believe it or not, can be bought. It is not too expensive for a rich person to buy an election in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Not too expensive for a rich person to buy the election in St. Kitts and Nevis. And we must take this proposition seriously. And we must ask ourselves, what promises were given to these rich persons? Let's go to the lines. Caller, you are live. Hello, caller.
Good evening, Mr. Liburd.
Good evening, Carl. How are you?
Yes, and good evening to the listeners home and abroad. Carl Brown here. Mr. Liburd, we done that for many, many, many years. That all the election all around the world is bought. All the folks there bring home, or you vote by mail, or something. All the parties do it.
You have a radio on? Excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Carl. You have a radio on?
No, I remember I live near the airport. That's a plane.
Oh, okay.
A jet or something leaving.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, big jet is leaving.
Okay.
That has been done and nobody decided to stop it, right? Mm-hmm. But yet when folks lose individual candidates and parties, they begin to make noise about overseas voters, and all the parties bring in overseas voters.
You support that?
It's just who could afford to bring in the most.
You support that?
And who could afford to get the most to vote for the party or the candidate.
Does Carl Brown support that?
No, I never support that. You know I always against that. Okay. I always say that leave the election for St. Kitts Nevis people that are here. And all the candidates them, they say that they paying the taxes here and they come home for graduation, funeral, all family reunion, all kind of carnival, festival, all kind of things. Right? And that is the argument. But yet when they lose now, the same candidates then go and say, Tom bring in more overseas voters than them, and Tom donors pay for overseas voters. Rubbish and nonsense. It's the same thing, Mr. Liburd, with electoral reform. Okay. All of us know the list need revamping. All of us know we need constitutional and electoral reform. They're going to say, they got 4 or 5 years, and everybody going to say, when the campaign, we're going to change it and we're going to adjust it when they're going. When they're going, nobody do nothing. Okay. And yet when they lose, they complain about constitutional reform and electoral reform. Nobody is doing nothing. So let them hush. It's just rubbish and nonsense and a lot of talk.
Okay, thanks.
The budget. I am very shocked and surprised that Dr. Drew and the Labour government only give $25,130,000 to agriculture. That is an embarrassment and an insult. Every government coming, every budget, health and agriculture getting less money. I mean, what nonsense is that? We talk, we're the fastest developing growing nation in the world. But yet we don't want to put $100 or $150 million into health. Look what happened to us there 2 years ago. With this pandemic, health budget was done in a push They have to pull money from all ministries, all sorts of house to work with this pandemic. And you go in the house and the help that small budget here. You go in the house and they're talking about agriculture and all these changes going to make in agriculture. And you're going to only give agriculture $25 million? That's a joke and an insult and an embarrassment. So how you expect farmers to produce and make us self-efficient? And where the big thing they're talking in agriculture throughout the whole Caribbean, you know, by 2025, they want to cut the import bill.
Okay, Carl. Yes, Carl, I have some other people on the line, so wrap for me.
Yeah, so it's a lot of rubbish and nonsense. Don't... My God.
Thanks. I understand you. They must put the money where the mouth is if they're going to talk about agricultural development. That's what you're saying. Caller, thank you for holding your live. Hello, caller.
Good night, Mr. Patrick. Good night.
Good night, sir.
I'd like to ask you one question. Do you know Melvin Mitchum?
Melvin Mitchum. This name now sounds familiar. What about him?
Oh, the name sounds familiar. He used to work at Public Works Department. He used to work on the U Ministry.
Okay.
And you fired him. So I would like to know. You don't know him. You don't know Melvin Mitchum. Look it up and tell me who Melvin Mitchum is. I can listen you off here.
So what he was fired for? You gone? I thought you said he was fired. Anyway, that's in the past. But let's say caller again. If you have an issue, come with your facts. You know, if you want to have a conversation, let's have a conversation. That's what Street Talk is all about. Your views will be entertained, no matter if they're different to mine. So no need to come and just throw some low blow and run. You know, this program is about discussion, conversation, and an exchange of views, right? Because in the civil service, I don't know how you fire people that easily. It's not, you're not working down at TDC or Hosford's or one of those that you fire them like that. In the civil service, how it works, there's a public service commission, and the public service commission is the only authority to terminate people's jobs. So to say that someone fired Melvin Mitchum, to use your words, it's really borders on absurdity. Really, there's a process. I mean, you point civil servants as if he worked at Public Works, and now you're saying, I think vaguely I know who you're speaking about, and now you're saying that how it's done in the public service, that you have to, it has to be approved, as I said, by the Public Service Commission, which is then sent to the Governor General for his or her appointment, in this case his appointment, and then if you're terminated, then it has to be approved as well by the Public Service Commission. So to say that someone is fired, as again, really borders on absurdity. But that's a distraction, my Straight Talk family. As we were saying here, the budget, the 2023 budget, is full of fat. And we were talking just before that interception, distraction, that the AG, we asked a question, or someone asked about persons that are funding these elections, or paying or buying these elections. In fact, this is what Prime Minister Drew said. Let me just repeat it for those who may have missed it. This is what he said.
The election in St. Kitts and Nevis, whether you believe it or not, can be bought. It is not too expensive for a rich person to buy an election in St. Kitts and Nevis.
And that's what has happened. And we asked the question. The questions we ask are very simple. Did Christopher Harbour, we ask, pay any money to anyone for anything? Is there, and if there is, what is the commitment to Christopher Harbour? Why would the St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla National Bank or the Jew Labour Administration even consider Christopher Harbour for a bonus or reward for non-performance of Christopher Harbour? But as we said with the budget estimates, the 2023 budget estimates we advance are full of fat. And by that I mean, having listened to the budget debate as of yesterday and today, I am sure that we will agree it was. There was too much wasting of time on silly or trivial matters. And I'm sure the country awaits with a bated breath when the former Prime Minister and former Minister of Finance, Dr. the Honorable Timothy Sylvester Harris, would make his presentation in the House on this budget. It's unfortunate that an opportunity wasn't given by the leader of the opposition to have a real opposition response to the budget. Because Mark Brantley, as someone said, his response was like coming from a kindergarten student. But let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Okay. Okay, Patrick. You're not hearing my radio, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank God. Now, I hope people are listening closely to hear what the boy from Monkey said, Joe. An election is thinking, whether you believe it or not, can be bought. And that is exactly what happened. Because he know definitely if those people from overseas, whether they come and they want money, yes or not, if they're now coming for 1 hour, voted and turn off, gone back, and leave we who live here to suck salt until the stomach goes up. If that never happened, the election would not have been a committee right now. So he has a right when he said that it can be bought, whether you believe it, yes or not. And it's only who got money, pay the piper to play the thing. And that is just exactly what happened, including the nose breaker. The nose breaker was done in number 4, sharing out a load of money. Load of money, because people who get money and voted against the unity, that's why I get this China and I couldn't turn down this. Because if I did turn it down, I would have been broke right now. But he got done. So he's right with that. But you see what happened? When people believe they could give the wrong impression to convince people that they are better than who were there, the consequences doesn't be good. Mr. Butcher had a policy that you have to live in St. Kitts for some time before you can vote. You can't just rush in, vote and run back. And then when Tom get in, the Prime Minister changed that. And that is the whip that beating all the politicians them today. That kind of whip there, that they got in chapter 9. Chapter 9 in it. And all the government them after that, they had enough time to put a stop into that. Put a bill in the house to be debated. And who don't like it, that's your business. If you want to come home and vote, come home and live for a certain time and go back. Now, we see what happened 2020 when the COVID had everybody postponed, we can't move, right? Nobody come in and vote. It's people who on the ground voted and put in the government that we deserve, because we know what we are suffering here with and what we are enjoying. But since the COVID left now and everybody free, they rush in look in the trouble of answers and see what they do now. Everybody are going in and mourning. All kind of people going in and mourning in the streets. I know you don't know why you never go vote for you and you didn't see what you don't know to myself now. Well, you see, brother, who no learn from in the morning, they learn in the night. And the older people them say, who will not hear by the beating of the drum, they will hear by the tolling of the bell. It is too late, but too late can be changed. No, I'm going now. What here is the last one. But it's something nasty about the election in Nevis Monday. I don't understand, and a lot of people don't understand. You can tell me, I don't sleep when election votes are being counted. I don't sleep. And I stay up all night
and I tuned into the right radio station direct, which was on radio. And the commentators them up there, I could see how they were talking, they were showing me A to Z, wall to wall, X out, X to X. And one of them up there who was seriously back Mark Brantley. If you see Mark Brantley trust stone and bust a man head, he can praise up Mark Brantley. When I hear he said that just one more box that the lady who was leading Mark Brantley by far, one more box and she in front, that's it to Mark Brantley. And then you're gonna tell me, Patches, that the court stopped at 12 o'clock, the result, and 4 hours after they had a big break, they paused, and then they come back 4 o'clock, and they're gonna say Mark Brantley win, and the lady had Mark Brantley 80-something votes ahead, that they was cooked up already, because they know Mark Brantley know what he want to do. He want to come out from the opposition bench in Parliament and go over there and join with Joe, and let Joe feel like he's part of them. So that was cooked up.
Okay.
And the result is there to see.
Okay.
But one start wrong, one end wrong, and is God watching, and God ruling, and God ain't like it, and God gonna do what he has to do.
Thank you.
Okay, Patches.
Thank you very much for your intervention, as usual. At 9:17, we go straight back to the lines. Caller, I want to thank you for holding. Hello, caller.
Hot up in the name of our great African ancestors, especially Queen Nzinga and King Gab. Your blessed evening, my beloved African, but over you, the family, over SKN, Amiga, Wally.
Peaceful, my dear brother. How are you and your family?
Good, man. With some rain coming down, slush and everything. But, brother, I'm accustomed to that, man. Yes, my beloved brother. Brother, let me say, that election that they had in Wally, Nevis, excuse me. But they're not, NRP not challenging the results.
I'm not aware of that.
But something must be done, man. Need a recount, beloved. Need a recount. Need a recount, beloved. Need a recount. And those who are listening are their supporters. It takes, 21 days? You have 21 days to file papers and everything, right? Right or wrong, Brother Patches?
Something like that. I'll have to.
Okay. Yeah, brothers, need a recount, man. Need a recount. So let me move on to another thing, beloved. Brother, St. Gathers, Leo Megan, why they own a fleet of jets for these guys and girls in the Evil Empire to be traveling all over? What are they bringing back to the Federation? What are they bringing back? You know, but you see, brother, it's a scheme. You know, Brother Patches, with the per diem that when you travel, you get this amount of money. It's a scheme to enrich themselves and their supporters, girls and boys. It's a scheme. But I'm telling you, I don't want to see this happen. But where they are going, St. Kitts Nevis will be dragging their feet again, brother, to the IMF if they stop this wasting of money. They're even there for 6 months. They travel like they own a fleet of airlines. Beloved, the people think it's Nevis, Liamigan Wally, brother, is the one who's going to be punished, who's going to suffer if this evil empire and stop this foolishness, man, to enrich themselves, beloved. And beloved, that so-called debt forgiveness, brother, that should never, ever happen. And again, young sisters, young brothers, and those patriots and who love our people, African people in Liburd and Owali, got to stand up. Stand up. Don't let this happen. Even if you got to boycott the National Bank for some time, I know that bank was built by our people. But got to boycott them for a while and let them come to their senses and don't let this thing at Christopher Harbour go down. I think I got to demonstrate against this evil empire on Church Street. So be it. Ain't anything wrong in demonstration, peaceful demonstration. Beloved, so my people, especially young sisters and brothers, it's your time to rise and shine, my beloved brother. And brother, in closing, that guy masquerading, the guy for Don and Charles, you're masquerading as the AG. Is this a joke? Boy, this ain't no joke. This is a serious business. When people ask you a question, you got to answer. You work for the people of St. Kitts Nevis. All are you. Say no joke. You want to be joke, you stay where your father is and stay in his law firm. This ain't no joke. This is a serious, serious business. But then again, you see, when you come from a certain ilk and you believe certain things, you know, but let me tell you, this land called Liburd and Owali belongs to African peoples and will always remain in the hands of African people. But Apaches, thanks again for hearing me. Keep up the great works. Pan-Africanism our perish. One love, my beloved brother.
One love, my brother, as well. Always good to hear you. My brother, African brother there in New York, Nabo. It's now 9:22, 22 minutes after the 9 o'clock hour. We are looking at the budget presentation so far here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And when we see what's being presented in the budget, there's nothing. There's nothing being presented to make us feel happy as Kittitians and Nevisians. Call you live.
Yeah, the man asks you about number 5. If he going up or went. If he go, that is good. Because he see how he set him up and could not wait, now laughing at him. How he feel through him. The tourist lady say is Labour, the boats come under, and Labour did not in. What she wanted to claim all the credit, that is bad. They cheat with all the people that was up Dr. Lake Drive and other people, other places. The AG say he will change the election rules if it's in their favor. How it will come. How it will change. Don't give them a satisfaction who turn away. It's only 4 months. Let them say how much gone. That's why he's supposed to come on and say how much gone put in 3 months. Get home safely.
Thank you very much. Sounds there like Alice in Wonderland. Thanks for wishing well of your humble servant. Yes, my straight up family, I was just trying to find that election petition matter, but I go back to the lines in the meanwhile. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Are you there, caller?
Hello. Hello, good night, Packers.
Good night, my dear. How are you?
Yes, good night, Packers.
Good night, my dear Cassie. How are you?
Good night, Packers.
Yes, we're hearing you loud and clear. What's on your mind?
Hello.
Yes,
yes, good night, Packers. Me.
Yes.
I listen everything, but remember the age father used to abuse labor, but they to give me position now, so I will go take it down. Because the age father used to abuse labor bad and they call election. Yeah, so that is how it be. So he get a work from Joe because he and Joe go school together. But in the country, we need the quietness now because our lyrics don't win and Mark Bradley don't win. So we got to settle down with the politics because Me, I got everybody, my friend. Me ain't got no enemy with nobody. So let me just don't know with it politics thing and just listen the other way. How we gonna run the country? Yeah. And you have a blessed night and stay stony.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
You said everybody is your friend. Am I your friend?
Yeah, everybody is a friend.
Oh, so I'm not your friend.
We don't want to enemy with nobody.
All right, my dear. Have yourself a good night.
Politics Ghana, we just go live together now.
Okay, my dear.
You want to say unity is strength, so we got to look at this strength. So unity is strength.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, all the best.
Yes, I listen.
No, but you said everybody's your friend, so I am not your friend. I'm not everybody. I'm asking you if I'm your friend. Anyway, have yourself a good night, my dear.
Yeah, my friend. All right, enjoy. Thank you. See you. Okay. Love you. Thank you.
Love you more, my dear. That's my good Labour friend from down west. It's 9:26, my Street Dog family. You may have just joined us, and we were looking at the budget, and we haven't seen anything in the budget for the poor man. We haven't really understood the plans, the strategies for dealing with the potential inflation, or the projected inflation next year, the increased cost of living, the supply chain matters, the ever increasing cost of gasoline, food, housing. We have not heard anything coming from the budget process thus far that tells us that they are going to tackle these issues as promised back then by Prime Minister Joe.
We want to deal with the cost of living. Cost of living is a critical issue in terms of the cost of food. That is going to be a priority area. The cost of fuel, that is also going to be a priority area, so that we can immediately start to deal with the cost of living of our people here in St. Kitts and Nevis. We have to deal with that. It is critical that we do that. Just recently we see the United States, I think they passed a law to limit inflation, or to, in a sense, to deal with the cost of living. We had been speaking about that even before, and therefore those will be our priority areas. How can we help our people by decreasing the cost of living, dealing with those other critical issues? And the other thing we're going to look at is to get our people back to work. So,
yes, my Street Dog family, I believe it's 3 days, my brother Nabo, but let's get that confirmed. I'll get back to you. Caller, you live. Yes, caller.
Yes. Good evening to you.
Good evening, my dear. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine, thank you.
I can see those dimples. Yes.
Yes, that is what I say. If we didn't, because we never have, we didn't have a budget yet. The budget ain't come yet, because yesterday I really want to know what he smoke or if he take a crazy tablet. That wasn't a budget. So the budget ain't come yet. We're waiting for the budget. He ain't come as yet.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And you remember when Donald Trump used to abuse Biden and say Biden called him Sleepy Joe?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Biden bang him?
Yes.
And when he done, he said that he wants someone and the big man, they must go and go get him 11,700 and add votes and let him clear the winner. So that is the same thing happened up in Nevis. He called the lady all sort and all for your name. And now that the lady beat, that's why he could stay so long, because they went to look for his vote then to clear him a winner, just like how Donald Trump the asked the guy, go and get me 11,700 and whatever else votes to clear him a winner. That is what happened up there. But I said it, I calling on the ladies them. Are you pleased to make it to the court? Because he say, you ain't have any money to pay lawyer. But if you want $5 to help to pay the lawyer, call me. I will help all you. Get you rid of them. Them. You know what I say? Team bad, but we see who are bad. And with the badness, because they work for them team. The whole issue closing, they got it on, they got to cover underneath the skin. They will work for them team. If the woman them want a $5, tell them call me, I'm going to help them. Get it to court. Bring them down. That is have a good night.
Yes, my dear, have a good night as well. And yes, it's upon reflection again, it's 21 days within which to present a petition. And the 3 days, I think, had to do with the security of payment, payment of all costs. There must be some security of payment of all costs within 3 days. Yes, my Stray Dog family, dealing with the budget, we ask ourselves, what was in it for the ordinary man? What was in it for the ordinary man? Ask ourselves this, what about the $500 minimum wage that was promised? Remember this, my Stray Dog family?
St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party will recharge and revolutionize our local economy. We will increase the minimum wage to $500 per week and introduce price control legislation to help you keep more money in your pocket. We will institute VAT Day 3 times a year, giving you a total of 6 low VAT days per year instead of 4.
Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you are live. Hello, caller. Are you there, caller?
Good night.
Good night, my brother.
What is good night? This is Mr. Politics.
How is Mr. Politics? How is Mr. Politics?
Oh, man, I'm here just listening to the program as usual. Just like I want to listen to the whole assembly. I got to listen to a few speakers, but you know, I got my own thing, my own private thing to do. Like to look for me animals them and do whatever. You know, so I don't get to hear everybody. I was listening to Samuel, you know. Mm-hmm. Young people, and you know, we got to see what they got and try to, you know, work out where they're going to come with. He's the Minister of Agriculture, and I will like him to do well. Now, Patches, I ain't going to listen to the opening story, but I just calling on the people at the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis to analyze and see what's going on in this Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, especially when it comes to the CCM government. I believe Madman is a real underminer, and that you've got to be careful with him. Patches, I want to see good for my country. Whatever government in, I want to see good for my country. Dr. Joe in, and I want to see him do good. Patches, the people elect the Labour government in, and by Minister Politics, don't give them a chance to see whether they got to half up to the ordinary man and woman in the Federation, St. Kitts and Nevis, especially in agriculture. Because I'm a livestock farmer. The ground farming too. And you hear right now that the Federation has a sweet potatoes. I don't know where the farmers get I don't know if the farmers are fault or not. But last year, me, Mr. Politics, and some other guys were doing some farming, and we had plenty of sweet potato. They didn't get spoiled because it was slow. And I want the new Minister of Agriculture to do well. Because we can't come and say the same thing all the time. We can't come and say we're going to do this and we're going to do that when you're not happening. You know? Somebody is a young man. I respect him. I used to sell him meat and stuff. You know, you do the business. But I used to carry cattle to be about 2 and sell him. And I respect him and I want him to do well. And I want his country to do well. But part is me, Mr. Politics, back and forth in any politics because people make me question me. Tell me why I ain't on the radio. Why you can't come in, why you in this, why you in that? A young lady me song, I think 2 days ago. And said, politics, you think with the kind of money with that pay? The kind of money with that pay, what, $250? I said, well, what you think about it? What you think about it? She said, I won't labor now this and that around either. And I get fed up. I said, this now, everything takes time. Next time it might be bigger. So take it easy. Yes, I said, next time it might be bigger. Everything takes time. So I don't have a political back and forth in nobody package. I'm just analyzing what's going on in the country and I'm just looking out. Because parties, nobody could stop me from talk. And nobody can stop me from criticize the government. I tell you again, I reward for unity. And you see what the unity has destroyed us. We just see Mark Martin, the hypocrite Mark Martin from Lewis, they destroy us. Destroy us. But I show that the people of Lewis never send a good great message to him. But anyway, well, sometimes that things got to happen or something happens. Patrick, you have a wonderful night. May God bless you and God bless the Federation of Thinking and News again. Did the country move on and the administration? I wish them all the best. Patrick, have a wonderful night. God bless.
Have a wonderful night as well, my dear brother. God bless you likewise. And we have to be very clear about our discussions as well as criticism. Because no one is above criticism. None whatsoever is above criticism. And the criticism of any government, I would believe, as someone who served in government, I once said to you, I always welcome criticism because criticism can only help to improve the performance of any minister, any particular government, and we should just take criticism in stride. I would like to say to the Minister of Tourism, Ms. Marsha, reads this email. Madam, you are only deceiving yourself and having people laughing at you with your continued foolish statements that you and your government are responsible for the many large tourist ships entering our country. Nonsense, Marshal. Grant is the man, not you, nor your government. Give honor where it is due, and at least swallow your pride and thank Grant and Unity for the tremendous and successful work they have done in tourism. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yeah. Okay, Patrice.
Yes, sir.
Thanks to Mr. Politics come in and say something. Now, the guy who was in charge of the CBI sales, what his name again? What you say his name?
Les Khan, CBI, the CIO unit.
Right, okay. Now look at it. Look how foolish that boy from Monkey Hill and his cabal are. Now the man, Mr. Lescan, he was doing such a wonderful, marvelous job. His performance attracted many investors to this country here. Whether they come to build house or start work or whatever it is, his service attracted them to support the CBI. And then you imagine Joe and Wilkin and all who went down there with him, and he said he checked and all kind of people went down there. And then when they got asked, where Mr. Lescan, he cannot give the man an answer. And all who had intention to come here to St. Kitts Nevis because they become CBI citizens, all of them pull out. What does that tell Joe and his cabal them? They don't know how to run a country.
His own supporter, Douglas, tell him plain out. You can't even beat an opposition. Never mind to come and win Douglas. Douglas tell him, boy, no, you are a leader of the party, but not you don't have it to be the leader of the country. So therefore, people do not be fooled by them. Mr. Politics said something and it's true. It was Mr. Politics, Alice, myself, and Maisie. Many times used to call in and the man over Nevis show every Wednesday night and support it. And when I find out that he is a backstabber, a political snake, I back way. And I tell him plain out, no, I can't think it because you coming down here giving us the impression that Douglas and the Labour Party is so bad and nasty. But then you up there now, shoulder to shoulder, sitting on the bench with Douglas. When PLP had the convention, when you're supposed to be down here giving support to Prime Minister Harris, you up there backstabbing Harris in the back. And then you got us calling in and show. No, you ain't no good. But anyway, Maisie, I'm going to agree with you. The ladies in Nevis, please, you all do not procrastinate with this here. Move forward fast and quick. It is wrong. And if you all need any help, I got to sell any tools I got to give you the money, I will give you. Now the budget passes. This man gonna project the kind of figures what he called for budget. And the whole recession is done started, and we had nothing here. And the little bit of thing what these people got here for agriculture, sometimes you can't even get this, you can't get that. And here the little pitons, he gonna project for agriculture. He ain't ready yet. The country gonna starve. And he come talking about the wonderful budget. But let me go home. Hear me? Let me go sleep because I don't get already. Good night, Patrick. All the best to you, here.
Good night, my brother.
Looking at me with them. Don't trust nobody. Have a good night until.
Have a good night as well, my dear brother. And I'll be guided. You know that Les Khan was actually brought to St. Kitts by the Douglas Labour Party, and he was eventually made head of the CIU under Unity in 2015, and no one can dispute what he has done in terms of what they call the recalibration of this particular program. And for him gone, it is something that one has to consider what would be the impact from his departure, sudden departure, whether it will be positive or negative. But only time will tell. Caller, you live. Hello, caller.
Patches, good night.
How are you, Jam Down? Good night.
I'm fine, man. Season greetings.
Same to you.
When I watch them cruise ship tie up by the pier, I have nothing else to say, but Patches do that.
Patches done
that. Patches, let's talk about inflation. The Honorable Prime Minister, he seems to look like he understands what's going on in the groceries. A perfect opportunity for that young man to come and tell the country what he's doing about these high costs in the groceries them. And you had a budget address. Talk for almost 4 hours and ain't address that. Man, come on, he look like somebody under my knee. He should be better than that. But you don't understand that poor people got a heck of a time dealing with these food prices in the groceries for Christmas. I wonder if he plans to get some more money to just to shop in the groceries. Oh, come on. No, Patchen. I think you and the cabinet make a big mistake leveling a platinum fellow our passport. Look how this man will write this thing. Now these people, these labor ex-pundit who are pushing deal, just looking money. Then they don't know what to do. Now we're going right asking the same problem when we had, you know. Yet, Patrick, let me ask you a question. What's the problem with Galaxy and Secret Weavers? Because reliable source straight up told us that Galaxy said it known to St. Lucia only January. And the mobile they might close. Something wrong. Somebody telling lies.
Well, I believe they do have business already in St. Lucia, so they're operating as.
Well, I can tell you, you know, let's come down there, you know.
Okay.
Let's come down there.
Well,
somebody fooling you. Somebody fooling you. Because that is a blow. It itself. It come to me and it come to street people on the road. Convinced now that anybody that Timothy gets to contract to work for the government, this presently government coming to just move them aside. They don't care what these people are doing on behalf of the Federation. And that's near over there by now said, want to tell the truth. That is a real return.
Okay, Jam Down, you're gone. Always so passionate, Jam Down. But of course, your observation was right on point. You know, the Prime Minister and Minister of Finance lost a golden opportunity. Perhaps he can do it in his rap, because when he would have got some advice and guidance from the former Prime Minister Harris, he probably will find some sense and really address the issues of inflation, the supply chain issues, issues as it relates to shelter, issues as it relates to water. I mean, BEAD was contracted by the Douglas Labour administration in January, 1 month before the elections in February of 2015. BEAD, according to its contract, never delivered the 2 million gallons of water it was contracted to do. 7 years after, what has BEAD delivered, you will ask the question. And it is everybody's view that BEAD will only extract money from this government and not extract water. He spoke today about desalination and talking about 30,000 gallons of desalination. That plant, I signed that agreement with the UAE Minister of Utilities, I think she was at that time. I remember signing that agreement. At 10 o'clock one night, the flight came in late, and we signed that agreement some years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, as it relates to the UAE grant funding 2 solar plants, two solar generated desalination plants. And what happened really is that when the information came back, as most all information channeled through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mark Brantley tried to hijack the desalination plant, and the NIA sent it to the UAE, totally oblivious to the fact that the federal government is the one that does business with other governments. And it was sent back to the government of St. Kitts and Nevis for addressing. And we thought, instead of taking the desalination plant from Nevis, we asked for 2 plants. So even Mark Brantley said he got it. What nonsense, what lies. Now Drew is claiming it. So who is really talking the truth? Not one of them. Caller, you live.
Patrick.
So.
I'll take it again.
Mm-hmm.
I want to commend the Honorable Samuel W. Because I listen to the Patrick. in the opening statement and really talk about agriculture and whatever he going plan to do. That is, I see him attack, like going back, you know, and I respect that. He not come with the load of politics like he going back. I don't want to, after to come up, he get political, but he was at his point saying what he had planned for agriculture, fisheries and everything. And I want to commend him. He's a young man. And boy, we got to give him a chance. Now, Patrick, talking about agriculture. Patrick, you know, this is a Christmas coming, you know. And the sweet potato at all in the market, you know, Patrick, no sweet potato. Last year, people like me, Mr. Politics, had acreage of sweet potato with other guys that farm with. And we have done well because the weather, and it's spoil up because the sale was slow. And I want the farmers and the federation to come together. You understand? Because some of the farmers are fall too. They want to plant everything. But what I will ask the agriculture department to do, if they could stop playing Mr. Politics within 2 or 3 acres of land to farm to plant some sweet potato, because every year people get sweet potato because this is the thing we come upon. And me as a livestock farmer, that is not round me surrounded now. All the land take up. Me up to last year I went to a meeting of the agriculture department and I put that on the place. And all the land took up round me land sustainable for some land. Me animal in West Warm Boys area. West Warm State. And you know all the land just around the area there. And if the agriculture department and the government is very serious about livestock farming and we eat healthy and to get local meat to eat and local food to eat, I will have to get some land to locate the animals there too. Because I come out of my mother belly rearing animals. I meet them rearing animals. I used to pick back in the 90s. I used to when Jack come in first, I used to supply Jack with pork. My man used to supply Jack with pork. Every week she had a pork because everybody suffering, the young one, then you butcher them and you send them a one. So. And this is where me and Papa come about animals. I think if I got to get out the animal land, because it's not so good. I will look at some animals, the comfortable setting up and something. Even if I got to get somebody to work with me. Because I know how animals work and I know animals, especially with cows. I will be kindly glad if this government could help me. If we really serious about agriculture and eat healthy and livestock farming and whatever, some land to farm, plant agriculture, and some land to raise the animal there. You must be all over that. Look at me somewhere. Especially the water. In fact, culture, good night. And good night to all the shirts, callers and listeners.
Okay, my brother.
And we got to be fair, we can't be political and everything. Because this is our country. We can't be, when we see things, we got to call it, we can't be political with everything touches. This is our country.
Thanks a lot for you.
And Patrick, bless up, Patrick, bless up.
Bless up, my brother. Mr. Politics. Good night, Mr. Patches reads this email. Your topic tonight is very interesting. So happy you are making folks aware of what is going on in the Federation of St. Kitts Nevis. Continue to hold Dr. Drew and his lawless team accountable for the poor treatment against the poor and underprivileged of the Federation. Keep pressing for answers. Dr. Drew needs to start treating the folks like sensible people and not idiots. Dr. Drew is a joke and will be forever branded a highly accomplished liar. Dr. Drew continues to be an embarrassment to the folks of the Federation. Marcio is enjoying riding high on the credits of the former administration representatives. Marcio, if you want respect, Give credit where credit is due and start carving your own path. Shame on you. Great job in not getting caught up in a catfight with that nitwit that wanted to rile you about someone being fired. Thank you for a great show and for being a professional trooper. Have a good night. Have a good night as well. And thanks for your commendation. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Patrick, good night again.
Yes, Ramdo.
Patrick. Hello.
Yes, Jamdon, go ahead. You're live.
Yeah. Patrick, I want to congratulate Samuel. But I think the 12 minutes to jump the ball again. Samuel should get more money out of COVID. We need to get these farmers up and working. We need to get these farmers out there. They used to abuse them saying, oh, the agriculture this and the agriculture that. And there ain't no money for agriculture. The next thing I want to talk about, Patrick, you got a young man going around trying to bring down a young, promising, a lady who performed so well representing Think It's out there. And trying to put Michelle Liburd disqualified for any job in Think It's. So whoever that young man is, walking around and trying to bring her down because of the politics. Come on, youngster. Michelle has proved herself to this country. You gotta prove yourself to do them to get what? Is a position up in the department, the labor department, and she applies, she born here. Because whoever born here get. That's enough of that. Patches, why is it the government don't come and tell us the real truth about the arrangement from the farmer government with Mawaka with this energy? Why? That was something so good for St. Kitts. That snake over there, you know, over there, over by Salpan, that snake. Let it go ahead. Let it go ahead. Anyway, I know Dr. Sylvester Timothy Harris will perform because he's a very good speaker. He understands parliamentarian system more than all of them. And he could deliver. And we know he could deliver. Wherever that young man go, John Doe will go. Because we will never see a leader like that young man. We will never see a leader like that young boy. And he got qualities because he showed the world that the amount of people watching him here for Christmas and coming down the port and telling me so. Boy, he's so right.
Okay.
This guy is so special at this time.
Thank you.
Brother, never hear no and keep the fire burning.
Okay.
Because we're really down, you know, like the sheep, you know.
Okay.
Keep the fire burning.
Thank you, my
Politics just make a point here, you know. No sweet potato in the market. Let's get politics alone with a little piece of land and a friend down comes to tell me, carry this country with sweet potato.
Okay.
I want something is wrong.
Okay.
And you take care. When I see them big thing down there, tired by the dock, I say, Patches do that.
Thank you.
When I go up Wellington Road and see the kind of apartment up there, say, Patches do that. This is the kind of performance we want from me. Oh, Patrick, I'm going to talk about something very seriously.
I'm out of time.
Down there by Sut Alley. Don't pick up the alley. Go to the alley by Sut Alley where Gene Boy was born. To there. He got a lot of youngsters living there in small houses. And they have no toilet. And the cooking station in Burger and trying it in empty land down there. I want to appeal to the health department and these warfingers to go to the and talk to these people very seriously.
Okay.
And the government must take these things very seriously.
Okay, Jamie, I got you.
And everyone who's doing these kind of things to think it. Jamie, we want to support that, you know.
Okay.
And that is where this was born.
Okay, Jamdong. Thanks a lot for your input. Thanks a lot, Jamdong.
I was informed from a member and straight up.
Okay.
And I went and checked it myself and I smell the feces down there.
Okay.
Next time I have to come to straight up because we speak the truth and straight up. And we call names. That is, you have a good night. And keep coming to the people. God bless. Next year and beyond. Have a good night, my brother.
Have a good night as well, my dear brother Jam Down. Never out of words. I'll take perhaps these last two calls if these callers will be guided by the rule of brevity. Caller, I'm really out of time. And okay, I've lost that one. I was saying I'm really out of time, and perhaps I can afford you. Since I started a little late, I can afford you 30, 45 seconds to make your point, especially first-time callers. I'll give you 30 seconds, caller. You're live. Can you use 30 seconds?
Yes, Patrice. Good night.
Good night, mate.
Patrice, you listen to one from our Nevis today in the House of Assembly. Everything he talking, he say the government was there before. He feared that the same government he be in when you call him on that fear. He was in there and now he feared to announce the government like he was in it. The government was there before. And what's not? Then I realize that the man is a real snake. The man is a snake. Can't trust him. Can't trust him. You're supposed to keep far from him. I start with that. One company, for example, so I'm in listen when Mr. Amma, we didn't tell him, keep from him. Because he's just for himself, but he did not listen. He went along with him. And people will be down anyway like this. But you have a good night. Stay joint home.
Thanks a lot. Have yourself a good night. Very good point you made. I listened to him for a fleeting moment, and I was wondering, he kept referring to the former government, you know, the government before, and he was part of the government. I couldn't understand what he was really trying to do. But my Straight Talk family, I am out of time. My time is done, and I've got to run. I want to suggest in my conclusion to the current Minister of Finance and Prime Minister that stabilizing the public finances is a critical part of the renewal of our economy. Recently, you paid honorarium to or using a narrow definition of frontline workers. You made a gratuitous payment for some who lost their jobs, for example at TDC and elsewhere, for failing to get vaccinated. You paid a double salary in November. Imagine that. Didn't even give the business owners, the businesses, a time to get their stocks. Didn't prepare them for this double salary in November. Just because it was your birthday. You paid it on your birthday, a double salary. You paid a dividend in December and insulted every single Kittitian and division by giving them $250 and $500 respectively. Not giving them a wow for Christmas. But if you continue hiding and masking and cloaking your deficits by projecting these high CBI revenues, you will find yourself and put the country in a deep hole. You will only deepen the hole in the public finances because you've said that the country is in a red. You continue to ignore the existential threats of climate change. You mentioned today you're purchasing 2 new fossil fuel-generated Wazilla engines. Yet you continue to block the construction of a 36-megawatt solar plant. And this must be considered as a reckless political decision being made by your cabinet. and led by the inexperienced, can't finish the song Minister of Public Infrastructure. We know who he is. But tonight, as my thesis said, the 2023 budget estimates full of fat. And I meant that by saying I listened to the budget debates yesterday and today. And many will agree, if not all will agree, that there was too many references to trivial matters. It was filled with politicking. There was no policy enunciation, no answers for the plethora of issues that confront us as a developing nation. No strategy to tackle the high costs of living. Nothing in the budget for achieving these things you promise. What about the increase you promise in the minimum wage? And many people will say to you, what they've heard coming from you is an empty budget in which you promise to replace CBI, but with what? You never said. You said the country was in the red. And if you are in the red, it means you have no money. It means you're broke. But now you come to talk about surplus all of a sudden. And this Prime Minister and Minister of Finance thinks people are stupid. But the people have recognized that the deficit in your budget is cloaked by CBI projections. It is hidden by these CBI projections. But think about it, and think about it seriously, my people. Les Can, who created this platinum brand of CBI, suddenly resigns. He's being replaced, or he is replaced, or has been replaced immediately by an insurance man called Michael Martin. Reflect. He was once appointed, or his company was appointed by Denzel Douglas as secretary to the SIDF. Remember Douglas said it was a private foundation? And Drew Gallivants, as usual, goes to Dubai with his cabinet secretary, Nato. Lawyer Sylvester Anthony, Attorney General Garth Wilkin, and a young lady, I think it's Miss Galloway. And all the international marketing agents asked for Lescan, who did not include in his entourage. And Prime Minister Drew provided no sensible answers. And this on its own has created so much concern about the CBI in the international markets. So ask yourselves, how could the CBI revenue projections be increased by nearly $300 million? $300 million more under a new head of the CIU, who has no international contacts like Les Can. Furthermore, I have been reliably informed that one of the main investors has become fed up of the relentless attacks from people like Dwyer Astafan and others, and the unnecessary pressure from the Drew administration, and is now relocating all her business to St. Lucia. For that reason, and many other reasons I'll continue to tell you, I submit that Prime Minister Terence Michael Drew has tabled a deficit budget he has described as a surplus that is being derived from the increased CBI revenue he has projected. And I can only conclude, my people, that the 2023 budget estimates full of fat. That's my story tonight, and I am not going to change it. I want to thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight, and as always, I want to thank you, the callers, those who sent emails, and those who listen on social media, Facebook, YouTube, and or on WinFM. Thank Jamster at WinFM and or Trent. But remember, all of you are the ones who make Straight Talk. And for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. I am Ian Patches Liburd, and God's spare, I will connect with you on Monday for another edition of Straight Talk. Until then, be good to yourselves and to all whom you meet. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend. Rest, go to church, go to the beach, whatever you want to do your chores. But remember, whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you must believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye until we connect on Monday.
The morning, I thank God for the morning light. Give Him thanks and praises for taking me safely through the night. For the rest of food and loving care, and for my mother's breath of life that's got me here. So whatever my mind conceives, that I will achieve, you better believe. I do the things I should, be to my brethren kind and good, the best I could. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on, till I reach the top somehow. Down on my knees, the Lord I kneel and pray, my heart and soul, beg Him to take me through each day, my guardian to keep, and my guide, over every step I take, He will preside. So whatever my mind conceives, that I will achieve, because I do the things I should, be to my brethren kind and good, the best I could. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on, till I reach the top somehow. Protects me with His love, strong, pure and true, and so sincere, 'cause my knees are